Gavin in Taiwan writes to me, Paul, I've noticed that some speakers use single large bass drivers to produce bass, while others use two or multiple smaller bass drivers. I wonder if there's any intrinsic difference between these two designs in terms of sound quality. Thanks a lot. Well, yeah, that's a bit of a loaded question because much depends on the design of the speaker. But in general, I personally prefer more smaller drivers as opposed to one single driver. And here's why. In most cases, we have at least a two-way and possibly a three-way loudspeaker that we're talking about, right? I mean, I'm not a big fan, never have been, of single driver loudspeakers. Never heard one that really made me feel good, okay? So I've always been a fan of multiple driver speakers, and I have to say, probably 99% of the speakers you've ever heard are two-way or three-way, four-way speakers, right? Tweeter, woofer, mid-range, whatever. So in a simple, let's say a two-way speaker, if you have one big woofer, that one big woofer will handle the bass nicely, but remember, it has to also then handle the mid-range, on up, all the way to the tweeter. And the bigger the woofer, the more difficult it is for it to handle high frequencies. Also, it has more mass. And because it has more mass, its ability to reproduce quick transients becomes a lot more difficult. Also, bigger woofers, unless they're really well designed, and most of them aren't, have higher levels of distortion because they are much more difficult to get the magnetic gaps and everything, just the field strength, the spiders, when I watch our speaker designer, Chris Brunhaver, take the 8-inch drivers, which is about an optimum size. 8-inch drivers are great if they're designed right. The amount of effort that Chris Brunhaver put into our loudspeakers 8-inch driver to reduce it from a standard distortion level of about 20%. So depending on the frequencies and the excursion, woofers typically put out quite a bit of distortion, 10%, 20%, very, very high. What Chris had to go through, double Faraday rings, double spider, linear suspension, on and on. It's like, I don't even know half the stuff he's even talking about. And lowering it from that high level of distortion to well below 1% is amazing. Well, imagine now you've got a 10-inch, 12-inch woofer. That becomes exponentially more difficult to lower that down. And the biggest part of the equation is that mating, that upper frequency. So if you had a 4-way loudspeaker, then a big woofer is probably pretty good, except for that distortion aspect and the transient response. But overall, I prefer multiple smaller woofers to one big single woofer, which is one of the reasons why you see the FR30, our new loudspeaker, has 4 8-inch woofers. That's why. Okay, take it easy. Thanks for the question. Talk to you later.